and I would venture to say that urine comes from the end of your urethra faster than that car could ever reach. You know, you've been holding the pee for like 300 miles and you finally stop at your local BP or Circle K and you just let her fly. We're talking porcelain cracking piss stream. You're not going to get that kind of power from the Compass. I know this is a boring topic. I know it is, but most of us can only afford these, so that's why we cover so many of them. Little family crossovers, little family soldiers. The last Chevrolet Trailblazer flew the coop, but guess what? Ask God and he will give yet another gift. So we've got another Trailblazer, still powered by that 1200cc whopping 3-cylinder. In the Stellantis corner is the Jeep Compass. Now, there's a little information we got to talk about right there. That is a 2021. So it's a little older. The 2022s and up, they look very similar to that. However, they got all new guts and they got a new engine. Underneath the hood of that is a 2.4 liter. And I would venture to say that urine comes from the end of your urethra faster than that car could ever reach. You know, you've been holding the pee for like 300 miles and you finally stop at your local BP or Circle K and you just let her fly. We're talking porcelain cracking piss stream. You're not going to get that kind of power from the Compass. But in the newer engines, you do get the Hurricane. Now, the Hurricane is a 2-liter turbocharged because everybody got a 2-liter turbocharged. That's the whole entire world. But anyway, got a turbocharged Hurricane under the hood, and I believe we rocking a 6-speed automatic transmission. That one right there, I know has a 6-speed. Some of the higher trim levels would operate with the 9-speed automatic. And speaking of, the Escape got jealous and said, hey, talk about me for a second. And the hybrid sprung to life. Here's what we've got. We got a little hybrid Escape. And that's just one of the engine options in the Escape. There's 2 more. You can do a 1.5 liter, 1500 cc's worth of 3-cylinder hoss. You could do that with about 180 horsepower, or you could rock the 2-liter turbo. Shocker, I know. But the 2-liter turbo rocking out about 230, 240 horsepower, about 240, 250, 260 pound-feet of torque, all right there in the mid-2 level. Now, I do want to say one thing. In this little lineup right here, there is only one CVT transmission present, and it is under the hood of that, because that is a hybrid. Now, if that had the 1.5, the 1500cc bullet making machine, it would have an 8-speed automatic. If that had the 2-liter, it would have the same 8-speed automatic. You see what I'm trying to say here? Over there, you're rocking, oh, it's 9 speeds worth of rock solid goodness over here. And then we've already talked about this. So not everything has CVTs. The entire world's gone crazy and thinks that every car's got a CVT. That's misinformation. That's wrong. All right, you know what? We're gonna start over there with the Trailblazer just because I kind of like the Trailblazer. I'm gonna be honest with you. There is a blue color that comes on this car, and it reminds me of like a 68 Chevelle. Okay, this is a Trailblazer, and it used to have a cousin called the Chevrolet Trax. Well, that's one too many little crossovers on the same platform, so they axed the Trax. Combined, you've got a 1200cc and a 1300cc. We're not even going to go by liters. We're going by cc's. It makes it sound bigger, you know? Okay, little crossovers. So we're not going to be doing a lot of towing right here. What we've got right here is we've got little family vehicles. We're going to be hauling around 4 or 5 kids. We've got no 3rd row seats going. I mean, my God, they can barely hold their own weight. Why would you want to add that much people? Real quick, The only vehicle that has been cleaned and detailed here is the Escape. The Trailblazer and the Compass, they are of the filthy. So let me reiterate that one more time. They dirty, okay? The car lot has not got around to getting them detailed just yet, so that is why they are filthy. All right, let's go ahead and start in the back. Little cargo area right there. We got a little under storage. I'm kind of a little weirded out to touch this. I may need me some gloves. Go ahead and reach on in there, Hobbly. Ooh, we got skeets everywhere. Got a little spare tire going on right there. Let's go ahead and let's do this fairly. Let's just do it all at one time like this. Sometimes I like to do them like this so we can see them just fresh on. Coming over here to the Jeep Compass. We'll see what we got going on. Okay, so the Compass is a little bit bigger. All right, so we've got an air compressor right there. We do not have a spare tire. Let me reiterate one more time, because that's going to be a biggie for me. No spare tire, okay? We do have just a little speaker going on right there. Got no power outlets or anything like that, but we have no spare tire. That's a big thing for me. Moms and daughters, moms and sons, you know what I mean? People that we love are going to be out driving these. They could be at night, they could be in the morning, whatever. Anyway, no spare tire. Oh, we got a power gate there. Excuse me, I wasn't trying to rush you. Sorry. All right, I believe the Escape has more. It spittled on me right there. It's jumped to start and spittled. All right, so it looks like cargo area is going to be winning by the Escape. We've also got a spare tire, so 2 spare tires and an X on the Compass. Moving right along now. So I would say Escape 1, Compass 2, little Trailblazer's coming in 3. That's in back Hatchville. Now let's move on to the guts. Move on into the interior right here. All right, let's do the squishy squish test. Do I have to? Yes, Casey, you have to do it for the folk. Okay, so we got some kind of little squishy squish, semi-hard squishy. It's a semi. All right, we've got a mat pocket right on the back of that seat right there. We've got some nice dual cloth contraptions going on. We got vents on the back of that console. No, we sure don't, but we do have a USB-C and a USB-D down in there to charge up whatever you may want. I'm about 6 foot, 6'1", about 263 this morning. I do not say that to brag. Why would I? I tell you that so you can measure your size to mine, and you'll know how you would fit in the back of a Chevrolet Trailblazer. That is where the seat was when I drove it over here. So let's see what happens now. Can I sit behind myself? Just barely. Okay, headroom, just a little bit. 6'4", 6'5", guys, you ain't working back here. Or ladies, anybody, 6'4", 6'5" folk. My knees are buried in the back of that seat right there. Maybe the driver could be smaller. Maybe the driver could give me just a little bit more room. Am I going to ride back here with 2 people? Oh, hell no. But I would ride with 1 person back here, but it sure as hell is not going to be 2. Does it have a split folding seat? It most certainly does. Okay, moving right along now. Let's come over here to the Compass. Let's move right along here. Let's show no mercy. Let's just keep on trucking. Coming over to the Compass. This is more of like a fully juiced up Compass. All right, so let's see here. We got some leather interior in here. We do have a big, huge twin panel moonroof in there. That's pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. All right, I see a lot of cost saving measures. We've got, no I don't. All right, we got 2 pockets on the back of both of the seats. Look at that. Vents on the back of the center console. Way to go, Stellantis. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's not as hard as the Chevy. We got semi squishy squish, but this is more squishy squish than the Trailblazer. Hard plastic down there. Once again, same exact situation. There's no need to go through my size, because guess what? My size has not changed from vehicle to vehicle. Ooh, it's smaller back here. Now, I might not be buried in the seat quite as much, but my head is pretty much touching the roof. See, sunroofs, they rob you of a couple inches. Just a couple. Some men can give, some folk can give up a couple inches, some others can't. But anyway, with a sunroof car, you're losing a couple of inches right there. So, but it just feels like the seat doesn't feel quite as wide. I'm certainly not fitting back here with easily one more person, but not 2. Same exact situation. You got a split folding seat action happening right there. But the Trailblazer is bigger. All right, moving right along. Let's come over here to the Ford Escape. It's weird how that seat was. I don't know how to explain it to you, but it didn't feel right, okay? All right, coming on in here. Now this is an ST line, so we're gonna have a little bit of a sporty trim going on right here. It springs to life every single time we come over here. All right, so we got some red stitchings going on right there. We've got some cost saving measures. We've got only one map pocket on the back of the seat. We do have vents on the back of the center console. Way to go, Fjord. All right, I'm seeing a lot of hard plastic, but let's do it again. Oh, little squishy squish, nice vinyl padding right there. But it's the same type deal. I'm gonna be honest with you, I think the Compass has the nicest door panel. This is number 2, and the Trailblazer is number 3. All right, same thing. I promise my size has not changed. Okay, the bottom seat right here, like the bottom part of it, it doesn't come very far. So it's kind of like the Compass in that respect. As far as headroom, I think this and the Trailblazer have about the same amount. 6'5" guys, you're not going to get in here. My knees are touching the back of the seat. Maybe the driver could give up and give me a couple little inches of room right there. We do have some USB-Cs on the bottom of that center console. It's not bad in here. Actually, it's really... Ooh, that's close. I'm gonna have to call it a tie. The Trailblazer and the Escape, they're very similar seating positions and about the same amount of room, but the Compass is definitely smaller. Definitely smaller. As far as looks go, the Chevrolet Trailblazer will win this hands down. What? Casey, have a look, see, and let me see that one. Little Jeep Compass over there. Now that's a 2021, so the newer ones may have a few little different holes and stuff like that, different grills and fake vents, but for the most part, that's what they look like. And then here is the Ford Escape. But none of them look as good as this one. Casey, how can you just make that determination? Because don't you see that? That's a Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 right there. See, you're coming up behind somebody on the interstate. They don't know that that's not a fire-breathing, supercharged hoss coming up behind them. If you can't see Camaro in there, you're lying to yourself. All right, last but not least, we got to get behind the driver's seat. Let's see the ergonomics. Let's see what's happening in there. This goes. All of these little guys are going to come with leather. All of them can come with sunroofs. All of them can come with the nicest Zuzus and the Wham Whams. We're just talking about size. Because anything that those guys can do right here, the little Chevy, it can do it too. All right, climbing on behind the wheel right here. We got a decent size. Let's turn that fan down so y'all aren't blown completely away. All right, we've got single zone climate control right there. We got a little holder right there so you can put whatever you might want to put in there. We got a USB-C, a USB-D, and an aux cord hookup right there. We've also got a real 12 volt. Got a little hole down in there for some storage. No wireless charging pads or anything like that, but we do have a little hole. Got some lane keep assist, traction control. Got a little bow tie put in our shifter because why the hell not? There's our electronic parking brake. I'm not going to try to touch that because the juices and the skeet is flowing. Got a little center console right in there, but it's not very big and juicy. All right, 77,000 miles on this, but that doesn't really matter because we don't care. Gauge cluster is very nice to see. It's very easily operated and see and legible and all of that. There's your OnStar buttons and that. Let's do a little, oh yes. Nice little glove box in there. And that's about it. As far as seating position in here, you're sitting real low. The headroom is massive. Now obviously you could raise the seat up and all that, but it's a very comfortable position. All right, next let's move right on over here to the Compass. All right, Compass, you got a little competition over here. Let's see what you can do. Well, we'll see what we can do. Now this is more of a juicier one right here. Like we said, it's got the black top roof, black package, sunroof, black leather, all of that stuff. So she's got a little more juices than the others. Power windows, power door locks. It does have a upgraded Alpine system. So instead of 6 speakers, you're getting 9. You should have noticed that Jeep steering wheel before. That's in a lot of different options and models. Got some leatherette going on right there. Vinyl and some nylon cloth in here. Okay, I would like to say one little asterisk. The 2022s and up have an entirely different gauge cluster, and I do want to say this. If we were looking at the gauges in a 2022 and up, I think that it would probably win pretty handily. The gauges are actually pretty nice in the new car. Actually, the hell with that. Not pretty. They're damn nice. So anyway, all right. So you got a USB. You got a USB down there. We got an aux cord down there. We got a vitamin 12. Another little cubby hole. We've got dual zone climate control. The Chevy did not have that. We've got a nice little juicy size glove box right there. Nice thick girthy steering wheel. It's a lot girthier than the Chevy. Remember, this is Mopar stuff. So if you've ever driven a Dodge, Challenger, Charger, Ram, Durango, you're going to be playing with about the same kind of stuff right here. We will take them for drive in just a second, but let's have a little look-see at the hole that's about to gape open right here in front of us. Show us your gape. It's an out-of-body hole. The sunroof sits up top. Okay, nice little hole right there. Anyway, all right, so that's about it. As far as sitting in here, I don't have near the headroom as the Chevy. So once again, if you're a taller person, the Chevy, hands down. I'm real close to the headliner up here. It's because of the sunroof. But hey, Casey, I'm 5'2". Well, then guess what? It doesn't really matter for headroom for you, does it? All right, last but not least, the Ford Escape Hybrid. I have driven some of these with the 2-liter. It's a pretty potent little sucker. All right, here we go. The ST line. So we've already talked about this. We got red stitchings and all of that. We do have a semi big bellied steering wheel. So if you've got a big old girthy gut, or you just left Golden Corral, don't worry. You've got room to slide that thing in there. Power windows, door locks, and all that goings on in there. We got some racing pedals because why the hell not? It's the ST line. Same type deal. Let's go over there in the Compass. We've got some leatherette going on, little nylon cloth type deal. All right, let's go ahead. We've got some carbon fiber look right there. Nice deep hole for the glove box. We've got dual zone climate control. We've got a USB-C, a USB down there, but we have no aux cord. Nice little hole to fit whatever. 12-volt dial transmission. Remember, this one is a CVT. Let me say that one more time. The only CVT transmission in this entire competition is the car we're sitting in, and that's because it is a hybrid. If it did not have the hybrid and it had the 1.5 or the 2.0, we'd be rocking 8 speeds automatic. All right. Now, as far as the competition for this particular deal right here, I'm pretty sure that the Ford Escape in my mind wins. I will say this. Ford updated the Escape. Because remember, the Escape, the Bronco Sport, and the Ford Maverick, they're all cousins. You might even be able to throw the Ford Edge in there. It's got some underpinnings and stuff like that, and it's borrowed some pieces from this. But anyway, we're all talking front-wheel drive crossovers. So whatever the Maverick and the Bronco Sport got, this got. And they got rid of the little rinky-dink screen right there. That little Mickey Mouse action right there, that's over. You get a big Hall screen. Casey, I freaking can't stand screens. Well, then guess what? Then it won't matter to you at all. Family soldiers. The cars that we don't want, but the cars that we need. The vehicles that get the daily chores done. Anyway, thank you, Ford of Murfreesboro, for letting us play with your cars. And as always, thank y'all for watching, and have a hobbly.